Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Riccardo Bosi, National Leader of AustraliaOne. Thanks for joining us. This message is to the thousands of AustraliaOne supporters around the country. I will share with you today a brief that I've recently sent to all the state coordinators and the executive of AustraliaOne. The subject of the brief is our actions in the next phase of operations. Introduction. Background. The defeat of the Cabal in its war against humanity is reaching its final stages. The Cabal's war has been an illegal war. They, with their servile and useful idiots, are guilty of crimes against humanity by conducting political, military, police, judicial, economic, health, media and other operations, all at variance with the Geneva Convention, the Hague Convention, the Biological Weapons Convention, and other internationally ratified agreements. One of the preliminary objectives of these operations was the effective occupation and therefore control of every sovereign nation on Earth. As a result, Australia, like all countries, has been and remains under what is defined as belligerent occupation. The Cabal is in effect and has been an occupying power. Belligerent occupation. A territory is considered occupied when it is actually under the authority of an occupying power. Military occupation requires the suspension of the territorial state's authority by the occupying power's authority, and the case can be made this substitution occurred in Australia progressively and over many decades. So long as the occupying power's factual control is effective, no precise number of forces is necessary to constitute effective occupation. Military occupation does not even require the presence of military forces, although the occupying force must control the most important places. And this the Cabal has done. Consider Australians' organs of national power and their role in facilitating the Cabal's occupation. The polity, the bureaucracy, the military, the constabulary, the media, academia, big business, big unions, and religious institutions of every stripe. Finally, there is no legal requirement for the occupying power to issue a proclamation of military occupation. End of occupation. The belligerent occupation ceases when the occupying power no longer factually governs the occupied territory. Global allied forces have been engaged in military and other operations to end the belligerent occupation by removal of those elements of the Cabal who have penetrated the aforementioned organs of national power. These operations have been successful, and only few low-level elements remain to be mopped up. Belligerent occupation also ends when the occupying power no longer has effectively placed the occupied territory under its control, such as when an uprising by the local population prevents the occupying power from actually exercising its authority over the occupied territory. Let me say that again. Belligerent occupation also ends when the occupying power no longer has effectively placed the occupied territory under its control, such as when an uprising by the local population prevents the occupying power from actually exercising its authority over the occupied territory. This is where an opportunity presents itself for the people of Australia, and in fact the world, to play a more direct role in the removal of the Cabal and the lawful restoration of national sovereignty. Lawful actions. Before we continue, it is imperative to note that the operations by the Global Alliance have been conducted in accordance with the United States Department of Defense Law of War Manual, June 2015, updated December 2016. It has always been important that the operations of the Global Alliance are in accordance with the rule of law, in order to provide an unassailable moral and lawful foundation for our future actions that must follow our eventual victory. In the absence of an agreed international legal framework between Australia and the occupying power, AustraliaOne will also defer to the United States Department of Defense Law of War Manual to govern our decisions and our actions. This is of vital importance as the governance of Australia is entering a period of unparalleled instability. And secondly, the sovereignty of the future Australians is equally reliant upon defensible, moral, and lawful foundations. Restoration of sovereignty. Returning now to assisting the Global Alliance to end the occupation. As stated previously, an uprising by the local population which prevents the occupying power from actually exercising its authority over the occupied territory formally ends the belligerent occupation. Now, to be clear, and as we have stated many times in the past, AustraliaOne does not advocate violence of any nature. We are a political organisation seeking a political solution to the damage the Cabal has visited upon Australia and her people. Additionally, it is the responsibility of the Global Alliance to remove the Cabal, and our responsibility to demonstrate in a practical way our support for the Global Alliance's activities during this phase of the operation. So what is our aim? Our aim, AustraliaOne's aim, and the aim of this brief is to describe our actions during the next phase of operations. Our intention. As you know, intention comprises three parts: purpose, method, and end state. Purpose, what we're going to do; method, how we're going to do it; and end state, what the world looks like when we're finished. Our purpose is simple: to demonstrate the conditions for belligerent occupation by the occupying power are no longer met. I will say that again. Our purpose is to demonstrate the conditions for belligerent occupation by the occupying power are no longer met. Method. 1. Conduct. We'll be conducting peaceful gatherings and flash mobs. 2. The theme. Stop the rot, sack the lot. 3. Locations. Federal and state parliaments and council buildings, and federal state senators and members of parliaments and councillors' offices. 4. Dress and equipment. AustraliaOne hats, shirts, banners, flags, and other AustraliaOne paraphernalia. Signage. AustraliaOne logos on the signs, large with clear lettering, professionally produced. As many authorised AustraliaOne messages as possible. For example, reveal the 28 VIP pedophiles, stop mask mandates, stop full-term abortion, stop forced vax, stop digital land titles, stop chemtrails, stop digital currency, stop child sex trafficking, stop the 15-minute cities, stop satanic ritual abuse, stop killing the bees, stop 5G. Please clear requests for other messages through the National Coordinator. On the reverse sign of each side should be the words stop the rot, sack the lot. 6. Marketing and communications. Live stream and or photos and videos up on social media ASAP and frequently. Timings. Commence immediately and continue until the fall of the Cabal. Frequency. Every day if you can. Once a week if you can. As often as you can. End state. The conditions for the belligerent occupation of Australia are no longer met. The Global Alliance is able to finalise its operations against the Cabal in Australia and commence the restoration of national sovereignty. The people of Australia will have taken an active role in the restoration of national sovereignty. Conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen of Australia and the world, the future, it is now in our hands. We have a choice to remain slaves to an evil beyond description, to consign our children and grandchildren to lives of rape, torture and murder for the Cabal's pleasure and profit. Or we participate in the liberation of our country and establish for the first time in our history a truly sovereign nation governed by representatives who answer to every man, every woman and every child of Australia. My name is Riccardo Bosi, National Leader of AustraliaOne. Thank you for your time.